Okay, this is for Algebra 2, Lesson 10, and last week we learned about Pascal's triangle. This can go on for however big you want it, but to get this number right here, you just add the 2 right above it. So you can see to get this 4, we took 1 and 3 to get 4. So the reason we need this is, for example, on Lesson 10a, number 1, it asked me to do this. What is it? A plus 7 to the 6th. You can hear my dog over here. Okay, so I would not, okay, we're going to take time to put him outside. There you go. Goodness. All right, so what you're going to do is you would go to the one that had a 6 in it, since this is to the 6th power. So I need to actually go one line further. So 1 plus 5 is 6. This is going to give me 15 and 20 and 15 and 6 and 1. Okay, so this is the line I'm going to use. And when I get ready to multiply it out, these will be my coefficients, or the numbers out front. So what I need to do, since this is also handy, realize that this is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and write this. This is going to be my first term to the 6th. And I'm going to go downhill in my exponents, a to the 5th, a to the 4th. So I'm going to keep going downhill. This is a to the 1st. This would be a to the 0, or basically no a's. And then I'm going to go backwards. So this is going to be b to the 6th. We're choosing it because it's the 6th power. This is b to the 5th, and I'm going downhill. B to the 4th, b to the 3rd, and let me go ahead and finish this. No b's. Notice on each term that your exponents should add up to 6. So you can kind of double check and make sure they all add up to 6, and they do. Okay, so let's get started. This says I'm going to take my first term, and I'm going to take it 1 times the first term to the 6th power. So you don't even need to write the 1. Nobody cares about this, but this is my first term. This is like my little a. This is my second term, which is a positive 7. So I'm going to take this guy to the 6th power. Now, this says to take 6, because that's my coefficient, times the first term to the 5th power, times my second term, which is 7, to the 1st power. So I'm just going to put him in parentheses. And you do need to show your work right here. Okay, now this has to take 15 times my first term to the 4th power times my second term, and look what it says to take that times the 2nd power. And then I'm going to keep moving. This is my coefficient's 20, and I'm going to move it on down here. It says take my first term to the 3rd power, my second term to the 3rd power, and we're going to keep going. Here's my coefficient. First term to the 2nd power. There's my second term to the 4th power. And again, you can test yourself because these exponents had better add up to 6. And notice they are. Okay, and then my next coefficient is a 6. First term to the 1st power. My second term to the 5th power. And then last but not least, there's my coefficient, which nobody cares about, the 1. So I'm going to take my last term, which is 7, to the 6th power. And again, just double check. Now, honestly, use your calculator when you go ahead and work through this. Obviously, this one's pretty easy. So my answer is going to be a to the 6th. I can actually even do this in my head. Remember to do order of operations, so you do exponents first. So I've got 7 times 6, so I'm going to have 42 a to the 5th. Okay, then I'm going to do this. 7 squared is 49. In your calculator, hit 49 times 15. 49 times 15, by the way, I think it's 343, and that's going to give me a to the 4th. Plus 7 to the 3rd, hit that in your calculator, times 20. And I had already done this ahead of time, just so I didn't waste time here, but that's going to give you 6,860 a to the 3rd. Take 7 to the 4th, because you're going to do exponents first, times 15, even a bigger number, and you should get 36,015 a to the 2nd. Whew, big number. 7 to the 5th times 6th. So, you know, it doesn't matter. You can do 6 times 7 to the 5th, but be sure only the 7 is to the 5th power right there. But that should give you 10,000 and, wait, I'm trying to look. 36,015 was that one. Okay, this one's 100,000, big number. 842a. And last but not least, 7 to the 6th power you see, I don't even have room to write that, is 117,649. Okay, so notice here, ugh, gross answer, but my exponents are going downhill, a to the 6th, a to the 5th. And so double check, there's your a to the 1st, no ways. So that would be your answer right there. So you can see there's no way I would want to do that by just taking a to plus 7 times a plus 7 and getting that answer and then multiplying it times a plus 7. So this is a much better way. All right, let's try another one. Let's try this one. Maybe we should try one that has, like, this is number 3, 3x plus 1 to the 4th. Okay, so what do I do? Where do I get started? Take your one that has the 4 in it, because it's to the 4th power, which is right there. And I'm just going to come down here so it's real handy, and I'm going to write out my coefficients. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. And then right below that, I know my first term is going to be to the 4th power, because that's what we're doing it. And then a to the 3rd, a to the 2nd, a to the 1st, no a's. And then I'm going to go backwards. B to the 4th, b to the 3rd, b to the 2nd, b to the 1st, no b's. Notice again that these exponents should add up to 4. There's a little 1 right there because it's to the 4th power. So we're ready to get started. This says take my first term, and remember this is your a, and this is your b. So I'm going to take my first term, take the whole thing to the 4th power. Okay, and my coefficient there is a 1, so nobody cares. Now my coefficient is a 4, and it says to take my first term to the 3rd power times my second term. Coefficient is 6, take your first term squared. And there's my other term, and it says to take it to the 2nd power. And I would know that anyway because these, again, have to add up to 4. Does everybody see that? So one more. My coefficient is 4. Take the first term, which is 3x. Oops, let me stick my x in there. Times my 1 to the 3rd. And then my last but not least says take the last term to the 4th power. So 1 to the 4th. So that's going to be nice. Okay, what is 3 to the 4th? 3 to the 4th is what? 81. X to the 4th.
Totally took advantage of the opportunity.
Then we're going to do this one. Do 3 to the 3rd. I'm just going to ignore this x for a minute. I can see it's going to be x to the 3rd, which is good because it's supposed to go downhill. But 3 to the 3rd is 27. And 27 times 4, I didn't do this one ahead of time. So I'm hitting that in my calculator real quick, but that's 108. So I have 108 x to the 3rd. Then I'm going to come here, and this is 1, so it didn't even really matter. 1 squared is 1, so I don't care about him either. This gives me 9. 9 times 6 is 54, and it's going to be x to the 2nd. Here I've got 3 times 4, which is 12, x to the 1st, because again, 1 cubed is still 1, so that keeps that easy. And then 1 to the 4th is 1. So again, I always tell people, check your exponents. Notice it's going 4, 3, 2, 1, no, nothing. So that one looks good. Okay, number 5, I want to show you a trick, and this is great. What if it asks you something like this? It says a plus 2b to the 5th, but all it wants to know is the 4th term. How would you do that? Okay, you don't want to do the whole thing when all it's asking for is the 4th term. So let's think about this. First of all, this is to the 5th power. So I'm going to come up here to the one that has the 5, and I'm going to use this line. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to copy that line down real quick. And it's this: 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. And then I know that this first term would be a to the 5th, a to the 4th, a to the 3rd, a to the 2nd, oops, a to the 1st, no a's. And then I'm going to go backwards. B to the 5th, B to the 4th, B to the 3rd. And as you get better at this, you can even kind of skip doing all of these. But you want the 4th term. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want this term right here. So my coefficient is 10. It says take the first term and square it. This is my first term. So I'm going to take him and square it times take the second term and cube it. My second term is a positive 2b, and I want to cube it. So that's my answer right there. So remember, exponents first. So 2 to the 3rd is 8, and 8 times 10 is 80. So I'm going to get 80, a to the second, b to the third. And notice those do add up to 5. So there you go. That right there would be my fourth term. Okay? Now, this is a long video, I know, but let me show you something here. What if there is a negative? For example, number 4 says r minus, there's a glare, 1/2 to the 6th. Okay. First of all, it's to the 6th power. But I don't want to do all of this because I don't want to make this video super duper long. But let's say I want the 5th term. Okay, instead of doing it all, let's just do that. So again, this is to the 6th power. So go to the 1 on the Pascal triangle. It starts out 1/6. And it's really simple just to go ahead, if you were starting fresh, and make a new triangle till you get down to this one. But there's your coefficients. And I'm just double checking them. The 5th term is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's this guy right here. So think about this. If this is a to the 6th, 5, 4, 3, this is going to be a to the 2nd, which means this has to be b to the 4th. Okay, because these have to add up to 6. And you can double check yourself. Remember, this is b to the 6th, b to the 5th, b to the 4th. So that's all I want right there. So my coefficient is 15. Take your first term and square it. So my first term is an r. I'm going to square it. And this says take my second term, which is not 1/2. It's negative 1/2 to the 4th. Okay? Now, you guys have calculators, so don't make this a big deal. But this is to the 4th power, so I'm going to lose my negative. Okay? So this is going to be a positive. In fact, this is going to be a positive. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. What, 1/16? And then take 1/16 times 15. So I should get 15/16 when you multiply that. And then it's going to be r squared. And that would be my term right there. Okay. And that should do it. Let me do one. What if I wanted, let's do the second term. Positive. I want to do, or do I want to do the third? If I just wanted to do the second term, that would be this guy right here. Okay, remember, if this is a to the 6th, this is going to be a to the 5th, and this is going to be b to the 1st. Okay, so gross, I'm going to take 6, that's my coefficient. I'm going to take the first term, which is r, to the 5th power. Take my second term, which is negative 1/2, to the 1st power. So notice negative 1/2 to the 1st is still negative 1/2. So you've got 6 times negative 1/2. If you don't like to do this, use your calculator. But a positive and a negative is a negative, and 1/2 of 6 is 3. So I'm going to get negative 3 r to the 5th. And by the way, let me see if I can find an answer for you. I want to show you something. Oh, I don't have any of my answers here. Let me show you something kind of interesting if I can find it. But whenever you have a negative, I will find it. Maybe. Okay, this one's really gross. This one comes a lot later. But notice there's a minus sign in here. It doesn't matter. Whenever there's a minus sign in here, your signs will alternate. So it's a little way to check yourself. So notice it's positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So that will be always true. And so you can see here that we're still doing this the same method. And this is way back into lesson 11. It's a review. So if you see a minus sign, just know your signs will alternate.